I'm doing very well, but I'm super confused about how everything's been happening over the past few weeks in Overwatch League.
Ooh.
It's weird. Well,
Toronto losing to Mayhem.
Toronto forgetting to play Overwatch at times. That was kind of weird.
Holy crap.
Like,
I just realized, hang on. As I started this recording, my mic was muted. It wasn't muted in Discord, but it was muted on OBS, the
okay,
recording.
let's go back.
Good thing I caught it right now because I've been using a different audio thing for my streams. Holy crap. Good thing I caught this now because you guys could hear me this whole time, but if they're recording, they would not have heard me. So anybody, hey everybody, welcome to OverBOTCH. You heard Richard, you didn't hear me. Just saying hi. We're going to talk about stuff. Anyway, Richard, what was interesting you the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, Toronto kind of forgot how to play Overwatch at times. It was just
Right?
weird. It was just weird. Everything's, and a lot of like big 3-0s and a lot of big changes. But the thing is, in the back of my head, I'm thinking everything's going weird, and Kiriko is getting added, so it's only going to get weirder.
Yep.
It's just going to get weirder.
Yep.
It's going to get.
She's not coming till playoffs though. She will
I know.
not be in the play-ins.
That's what I'm
right?
saying. So
right?
now we've got the stress of playoffs and the weirdness of what's been happening, because like patches and updates have gone through, and then it gets weirder. It's just gonna get like it's very confusing for me. This reminds me now of the very first season where I'm like, I have no idea anymore. Excelsior's having trouble beating Valiant. I just don't know anymore. But Plex, how about you? How are you feeling?
Pretty
Weird?
good. I mean,
Pretty good.
As much as I want to rub it in, I'm not going to, because obviously Mayhem were the big winners for the past weekend.
They did have a very good weekend.
Yeah, and just the fact that there was a lot of like mirror matches in terms of compositions, which to me says that the meta right now is solved. It's the Zarya, it's the Genji. Although if you're trying to defy it, you play the Tracer instead. You then got your soldiers who seem to be hard meta all the time, along with Lucio.
Oh yeah.
And then Baptiste. And again, if you're trying to defy it, switch to Diana. So it's interesting to watch. It's like you get these first few weeks, 9 times out of 10, where the meta's sort of in flux, but once it's solved, it then becomes this little sort of play of who can get that little bit of advantage over the opponent. And it gets quite interesting.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we saw at the beginning of this stage in particular, it was very wide open, right? Comps roll, and everybody was figuring out. It was like converging on the end of here, like trying to figure it out before the end. And you see the teams that nailed that early, like your Dallas Fuels, who went right back into that Zarya comp that was pretty damn good at the beginning of the season. It's kind of reared its head again. Yeah, exactly. They were able to hone in on that a little bit quicker.
Oh yeah.
And so they've stayed pretty strong. And then the teams that have come a little bit slower to the.
I will say some teams are still opting for the dive variations as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of diva play.
APAC seem to be relying on dive compositions quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been really an interesting kind of stage, and
oh yeah, I'm really digging it though, because people look, the teams are comfortable, right? They're figuring out new things. We're getting those adaptations. Just in the back of my head, I'm just like, Kiriko is super weird. Like I really like the hero, but that bug out of the blip in and having it, you know what it is? It's the additive effect that her alt has on everything. Like, have you run into like Kiriko-fied Bob?
Not yet. Oh god, that
oh
sounds
my
gnarly.
god.
Yeah.
It's like, Bob, do something, and it's like it's like sounds like an MG42. It's like, but it's firing with 50 cal. It's like a Browning on steroids.
So what you're saying is it's like the SAM-site turret. It just literally
yeah. It just like you know what it sounds like? If you ever heard what like the GE Gatling gun from the A10 Thunderbolt sounds like.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, the that thing, it's like that. And I've run into crazy things where I had this team was just like lamping on us. They threw down the Kiriko field. Kiriko did her ult. The Baps did his field, the window.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then a Bob came out.
Oh my. So Bob is shooting through an amp matrix at lightning speed, basically.
Yes. And
That's
everyone is
insane.
shooting, and there's like an Orisa. And then you
Yeah,
get
and
things
then
like
everybody else is doing it
you know,
too.
and then there's like a Sojourner. I think it was something stupid, you know. And
Dude, tack visor on the Kiriko ult is insane.
well, so that's what I'm saying. Like there's such a weird. She stacks really interestingly with heroes. So that's what I'm saying. Everything's weird because that's just in the back of my head because I remember still when they introduced Brig for the playoffs in season 1, and like I just have a feeling we're going to see something like that because her ult is pretty vicious. And anybody who's decent, like these are pro players, they're not gonna have the weird aim issues that like the average punter has, you know, on the game. So yeah. But honestly, it was I'm probably just hyper focusing a lot on Toronto, but it was just a weird gap. So that Mayhem game was bizarre. I don't even know what to describe it as. It was just weird. They just played so, I don't want to say badly, but just it was weird.
Yeah, they just seemed like they're off the boil. So to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah, like it was like something. You know, it's like when you have a friend and like they just got in an argument, and then you run into them at the pub, and you're like, "Are you okay?" You know, because it's just something's not right. That's what it was. So I don't think it's like
Something's
a
up.
long-term thing, but something was definitely up.
Well,
And then
from what I've heard, Hisu got struck down with COVID prior to this week's game. So it may have been that,
okay,
there may have been
yeah.
like a full blown thing in that whole team.
Yeah, one can get quite ill right now, and that's the whole thing, and that's going to be hanging over the heads of
But one
a
thing
lot of the teams.
that the casters said during that time, sort of like a silver lining, is that it happened now and not in a match that matters.
Yeah,
So-
not a playoffs match.
Sort of the
Yeah.
silver lining sort of thing.
Yeah, that's very,
Right.
very true.
It could have been that. It could have been something else. Because I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Because Toronto have the quality to actually do well. It's a case of can they get above that mid? That's sort of the running
Yeah.
gag about them right now. Because Hopper is a demon. He can have his games.
Oh yeah,
Twilight as well, really strong.
I mean,
PC,
everybody on that team has had their
That
moments.
entire
We know
team.
they're
oh
capable.
yeah. I know. I just
It's been a rough
Yeah.
stage for them, though.
yeah. It's a case of that team is so well balanced in that one player is underperforming, the rest of the team can step up. They're not sort of solely reliant on one player doing their thing, like Titans with Aspire at times, for example. You can see that
Mhm.
with a lot of other teams. I mean,
Ye-
Houston Outlaws are another one where Merit's not doing well, so Pelican will take over. Florida
Sure.
Mayhem, Hydra's not doing well, Checkmate takes over. It's things like that.
Yeah.
So they've got a good balance. It's a case of will that be enough, given their coming fixtures?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and it's heading into the play-ins this coming weekend will be. Normally, like I think I mentioned in our Discord, I was like, I kind of no brainer for some reason thought it would be. I'm like, oh, Toronto and Mayhem. I think Toronto, but dude, Boston's had a really good
Boston are
stage.
scary.
Yeah, they've had a really good stage all in all.
So, Richard,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
sure, I'm not sure if you'll be able to find it for us, but I know that Punk's father has been keeping track of the map win ratio with him in and Punk out. I'm not sure if you'll be able to find it because
Oh,
Punk,
so funny.
no, Punk is legitimate. Why the hell were Boston benching this player the entire season? They
Is
literally, it's like
I know they were trying to have they wanted the full Korean roster and they
Yeah,
were
I
trying to avoid the
doing
the
Jotes. I can
mixed
appreciate
roster.
that because with the meta like Jotes, you need communication. So
yeah.
having a universal language is actually I get that, but you're dropping Punk. It's kind of like Manchester City right now not using Erling Haaland. That's something Richard I
Yes.
think appreciate.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
he
No, that's
bangs in a
very,
goal every-
very.
He's been
That's very
like
fair.
back-to-back hat tricks.
Yeah.
So you're literally benching a striker who can guarantee you goal upon goal upon goal. For what?
Yeah,
What's
I mean,
the result of
see, it's fun. Oh yeah, I found it. Here you go. Yeah, I've got it for you here. Yeah, I've got it.
Okay,
I'll
so
put it
what's the
into our
stats?
Discord so you can put this up.
So I'll be
think this is
curious
the
to
right
see
one.
because I know it's pretty significant.
It's 54 versus. This is the win rate, right? The win loss.
Okay, so this is accurate as of this weekend.
It's
or something like that,
54 versus 42. Yeah, it's So do you remember when I was talking about wins above replacement? Like how
Yeah.
to actually look at stats? This is where it gets more important, right? Because what they're saying map win rates. Now, hopefully They've looked at maps that he has been on versus the same maps, because you can't do this with. I can't compare that you played a push map like Matt to Plex you playing a control map. That
Right?
doesn't
Yeah,
make any
yeah.
sense.
Different circumstances, totally
Correct.
different.
But this is how you're supposed to look at these things, conceivably speaking. But yeah, no, I saw this and I was like, at first I didn't know what it meant, and I was like, oh, I know what this means now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're saying 22 and 30, it means they keep losing. They keep losing. And then they win. Like, now you're dealing with a 54 to 37% differential. Even if the maps are different, then you look at, okay, were the game modes the same? Like, there's always a control. In which case, this is exactly what it is. What is the impact of replacing the player in their position? Like, this
Right.
is what stats should look like.
Yeah.
But hopefully they've
obviously
got the
Punk-
controls.
So over the season,
I like that you're saying for those only listening to this. I like it. This is what stats should look like, and we're looking at Punk's dad scribbling in Microsoft Paint the 54, crossing out the number, like the little like crude squiggles. I'm like, yes, I want all my stats written like that.
It just seems like Boston at times were doing everything they could to not play Punk.
Dude, all season it seemed like.
What was it? Itzal came in.
Yep.
Marvel.
Yep.
And Mag recently.
Yep.
It was only when the coaching staff changed that Punk was played consistently. And can you imagine if Boston were playing with Punk the entire season?
I know. It makes you again, there
Makes
are
you wonder.
Constraints around that assertion, but it does make you wonder. It's here's the thing, right? I think it kind of gives them a very clear path in terms of how they have to operate during the playoffs. And like, however far they go, I think we know who's going to be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
making me nervous because we'll get onto this later, obviously, but Mayhem are Boston's first opponents in the play-ins. And seeing Punk like this, I'm nervous. I'm legitimately nervous. I think Toronto got a slightly easier game, but not by much.
Not by much. No, that's not by much at all. It's very.
You got to go up against playoffs decay.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Just don't stick him on Zari. You should be fine.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I think it's completely feasible. I think the team can do it. I don't think there's any great solution. I don't think it's a slam dunk by any means, but Justice I'm more comfortable seeing Toronto against because they've done well against them, right? They just have to not, like, whatever was in their cereal in the morning, right, before they played Mayhem, they just have to not have that again. It was weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we want to talk about weird, like, man, my guys over here, the Houston Outlaws, had an incredible weekend a week ago, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. They went 2-0 again. I mean, one of them was Paris. Let's be fair. But the other one was Fuel on LAN. And they gave him a 3-1 at the second Battle for Texas this year. And then turn around this weekend, the last weekend of the regular season, just like, oh, hello, spaghetti. Whoops. Like, just kick it, not even drop it, kick it all over the place. Spread it on the walls. Take the sauce, paint "We Suck" in red pasta sauce on the bedroom walls. And just throw it all in the kind of a little bit in the old toilet arena. I don't
I will
it's so freaking up and down.
I will give Houston this though. So at the start of this stage, my concern was could they play without Dante? In that he's very much the Junker Queen. He's the Doomfist. But
he's the tank.
Dante,
man. He's the linchpin.
Dante has really expanded, and I think I can put my doubts to rest because he looks a lot better. His Zarya is good.
He's proven to be a lot more flexible.
Yeah, like his Diva, the Orisa as well.
Yep, that's why I put out a tweet saying and I get it. I work with the organization a little bit, but like I do think he was a little bit I don't think it's a gigantic snub, but I think he's a little bit of a snub on the MVP list. Just because, again, we want to talk about people who, like, if they weren't on the team, it would look very different. And I think he's one of those players this season.
Yeah.
Especially role swapping to start
say,
for
You
it
make
all.
a similar argument for Punk, in a way.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think the problem with that is he just didn't get enough playtime. That's the unfortunately he absolutely could have been and should have been in there, but just by sheer he really didn't get much playtime until this last stage. So he didn't even get the chance to like make his argument, as it were. So
Yeah, which is a shame. But I mean,
Yeah.
I've actually been really impressed with Dante this stage. Hey,
Yeah.
It's a case of obviously, like I said, this past weekend was not the best,
right.
but
No, but
there's a lot of good
overall has
signs.
shown that flexibility to move over to again more than just the Doomfist one trick. That's what we were all saying the first half of the season. It's like, okay, Doomfist one trick, and then it showed ability to depth. So like I think they'll do okay in the playoffs. We'll see kind of what happens. I think they'll do okay. I don't.
Well, you don't have to do the extra games. We do.
Yep. No, that's also true.
Yeah, one more game, man. It's like the wild card problem, man. Right in baseball, one more game.
Yep.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And as we talk about again, for anybody who's just watching or listening on audio and not seeing this on video, we have the kind of the quick little play-in tournament pulled up here, and yeah. So we have Mayhem and Uprising on Friday. They're game 1 with Defiant and Justice game 2, and then as it says here on the card, the winners of game 4 and game 5 of this weekend, because there's a total of 5 games all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So like the winners final and then the final, if you want to look at it like tournament style, they will the ones that will finish off the top 8 for playoffs. So there is a little bit of a, is it single? It's kind of like a double elimination.
It's
not
double
quite,
elim, yeah.
yeah. So it'll be very, very interesting to see. I think that first game is the closer game for sure.
That's a coin toss, definitely. Because like I said, you got Punk on form. I mean, Mayhem have the sort of overall, the more balanced team overall, but when Punk's on form and you can support him enough,
yeah,
I don't know.
And Seeker's been having some good games too. So
Seeker has
another.
But I want to give a shout out to Victoria as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Scan player.
Yep.
Flexing over to Genji. That is actually really impressive. And he did not look out of place.
Yeah. No, it's been very, very good. Honestly, I mean, all these are even, and then I've any combination of these. I mean, and as we get down, we whittle down. We've eliminated like the bottom of the card, obviously, with the lower ranked teams. So we are at that point where it's kind of every matchup is a coin flip potentially. I mean, any of these teams at this point have proven to have incredible games, and all of these teams have also had games where it's like, oh frick, we should have had that one, and it didn't go their way. So it's very, very much a coin flip.
So Richard, I'm going to ask you, how do you rate Toronto's chances overall?
Which answer do you want? Do you want the me answer or like the me answer?
Mix a bit of both.
Okay, so I think Toronto's going to be, honestly, I've got absolute confidence in them in doing pretty okay.
Sign of a true fan there.
No, I think they'll make.
No, I get
do
it.
Think, I think they can actually fight their way through the wild card. Like I think they can obviously fight their way through Justice, but then it gets weird, right? Like because it keeps going, right? So, who do they play if they win? Let me just pull up
It's going to be the winner of the other game. So,
yeah,
the winner of Boston versus Mayhem faces the winner of Toronto versus Justice,
and
then vice versa. So you've got the next round you've got to face either Boston or Mayhem.
Yeah. So look, I think they can beat Justice. I don't think they're making it through. Toronto was never going to win. Like here's the thing: once the change went through, Toronto's chances at a championship were gone. Once the Junker Queen changes went through, like you can tell already, it's just not that they were really good at that. They were top 4, top 5 team. They are not that team right now. And the problem is other teams really came up. Like Boston wasn't that much of a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like think about it. Two stages ago, you're like, Boston, oh, they're gonna be at the bottom. But that team is not. They're like the way running into Toronto was. Right in the Jotes meta. So I think they can take out Justice. I don't see them making it past the second round. I mean, I don't see them making past either.
I'd say
Mayhem or
if you
Boston.
lose
Boston will
the
punch them in the
winners
face.
final, you get the second chance, don't you? So there's still
Yeah,
that opportunity. It's a case of
I know,
can
but
Toronto grasp it?
the thing is, it's like, yeah, but then there's everybody else. That's the issue right now, right?
Mm.
Then there's everybody else, with the exception of Paris and New York and Vancouver.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
Yeah, no, and I mean, totally different. Once you get to playoffs, we're in a totally different bag.
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Um,
it's like in hockey. You always say, like, when the playoffs come, it's like you give them the lumber, right? It's when you start really hitting hard.
Yep.
And weird things happen. And honestly, it's like, it was once I saw the Florida game, and just like just like the lapses, it happens, but you can't have those. Like, you have to win, So when that happens, I'm like, it's all right. I actually
Yeah.
didn't anticipate as much as like puff my chest up. I never really anticipated Toronto to do that well this season. I didn't think they were bad by any means,
no,
but it's tough. And like, you see the impact of folks like Punk specifically. I'm like, you know what? That's like when like Finale is like on fire, or like Hisu is
Yeah.
on fire. But when it's Punk and it like,
Speaking of finale, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but it was on Dorado against Houston. He managed to stall the car on 3 health.
wild.
Literally,
yeah,
I think it was on Houston's attack. He literally was on 3 health against Pelican Genji, and he survived until Hotbar got back on Wrecking Ball. That was just an insane play.
Yeah. Again, it just calls back to that the talent, the classic line. The talent is there, but
Yeah.
right.
Copyright. YouTube shouts at
Yeah.
Leslie.
No
Yep.
kidding. So I mean, I think, yeah, I it's hard to not see Florida and Boston being the ones who come out of this one heading to playoffs, but I think, yeah, Defiant has the opportunity. It'll be interesting to see. And then you like you said, not only do you throw everybody else in the West, but remember, playoffs. We're back to international, folks.
Yeah.
We're back
And
to
APAC
Yeah.
tends to play very different compositions, so
yeah,
it'll
very
be
very
interesting to
much.
see the sort of clash of styles as well. Because when you look at APAC, they tend to lean more towards dive-based compositions,
Hmm.
whereas NA prefers more rush variations. That's sort of the general thing, but with
Yeah.
exceptions to the rule, of course. That's sort of the main differences. So I'll be curious to see, especially with Kiriko coming in as well,
yeah.
how the meta shapes. It's like all APAC teams have a different thought compared to NA teams, and which one will work.
I still just don't know if she's gonna get a lot of
She'll
play
get picked.
time.
I think she will,
You think?
man.
That I
think
mean,
she will.
like, it's tough because it's like these are very critical games, and then
Yeah.
like,
Do you want to
she's-
mess up what you've been working on, kind of thing?
Yeah, like you've only had a couple weeks to like grind with her, and in Overwatch 2. But again, yeah, like you said, these are pro players. It's literally their job. So like they've probably already played 40 hours of Kiriko. So it's like, and here's another thing. She's entering ranked this week. And this is their first kind of experience of like, hey, we're gonna release a new hero, and then we're not gonna put him in ranked for 2 weeks. I thought with the idea being like, we'll see if any balance. I guess they didn't feel like any balance changes were needed for her because she's getting unlocked for ranked play this week. I thought the ultimate would be tuned back a little bit, but holy shnikes.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Okay.
Though maybe they're not, because maybe they'll want to see that. Maybe they want that
So-
used in Overwatch League play so people can see it and be like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I like
Marketing, baby.
to try and figure out the meta, because I've done this before and been pseudo right these stages. So, assuming Kiriko is the pick for meta,
Mhm.
I could see a hero like Reaper being played alongside her. That speed boost Death Blossom. So you got that. I want to say an Orisa or a Reinhardt as well. It's like to protect.
I wonder how effective. That's actually really interesting because I wonder how effective something like a teleport Death Blossom, right? But one of the hardest things with that TP Death Blossom is sometimes if you land, they can a Widow can or somebody or Sojourn could headshot you, your Reaper, and cancel it. But if you teleport your Reaper in, teleport your Kiriko in, throw down the Suzu as soon as he starts his thing, just in case somebody tries to take out the Reaper, you have a 1 second invulnerable Reaper ulting in your backline. I don't know, like that. There could be plays like that.
Yeah,
which would be absolutely wild.
But Kiriko to me seems to suit rush comps. It's like things that you want to get. It's like a Reaper or a Cassidy in very quickly from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So you could say use the Lucio speed boost, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden Kiriko goes, right, here we go, charge.
And she's also like she is just that ultimate like dive buddy though too. Like again whether it's like a diva or something flying in to do something, she could just teleport them. She can hang out behind cover or something. Wait till whoever she's diving with, again or a Genji or something, and teleport to him. Drop the healing, drop whatever you need, and then get the hell back out. Less than 10 seconds later, if or wall climb, whatever she's got to do. So she's like a good companion, a dive companion, too. So maybe APAC, man, like you said, APAC likes to do a lot of the dive. Maybe they have, maybe that there could be a lot of.
The healing because that was always a problem with running Farah and Echo. Because you used to use a Mercy Pocket with one of them or the other. These days, because you only got 5 players, you can't really do that. So I would not be surprised if they mix Echo or Farah in. So you go Kiriko, sort of look at her, and just heal them up.
You wouldn't be able to stay there with them, but I mean, like, and it wouldn't be as often. But yeah, you could teleport up to a Farah, drop the healing, and then just drop back down to the ground. Yeah. But you open yourself up for some snipes, for some hit scans there, but it could work.
Say, the fact that she's got that teleport and the wall climb does open up a lot of possibilities.
So yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what the teams come up with.
Oh yeah, I mean one of my favorite things, like this is where it gets really weird, right? So like Kiriko has like all these like line of sight defenses, right? Like this is why I feel like honestly, like I know at lower elos you'll get this, but like you get like Baps and Kiriko, not just because they do like crazy stacking, they're both mobile as hell. They have bug outs. So you have the jump. Both of them have invulnerability alts, like abilities.
Abilities,
like,
not even ults.
Dude, I've seen crazy stuff where you do the invulnerability first because remember when you're invulnerable, you're not hit by anything. There's no alt buildup. Like with Baps' field, you take damage. It just keeps you from dying. Kiriko's keeps you from being hit. So you can start with that, then do the field, and like it's silly. Yeah. Like, and then the best thing is she can climb, and then you can do things like there's a random, as long as you know and you're good with your vectors. I've done this where it's like you think you're getting killed, you just need somebody knowing that you need to get just going at the straightest line towards the point, because that always it can give Kiriko the exit when she's getting her butt hit by stuff.
Yeah.
If she needs to exit. And then she also can do teleports, like Widow pops up. You can teleport to the Widow, or Widow's flying through the air and you teleport halfway and then you climb a wall. She can get into corners and just like spam heals. It's really weird. Yeah. That's why I'm certain there's a really good way to play her. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah, but you mentioned it. So there's a term I hear in Smite where abilities that are used as escapes. Yeah. So things like leaps and teleports, things like that counts as an escape. And you see a lot of those kinds of characters in Smite. I'm assuming there'll be similar things in other games. It's like they're the safe picks because oh no, I'm on low health. Boop, I'm out. I've got a greater chance of surviving. And Kiriko brings that to the dance as well.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
She's a very safe hero in that regard. It's a case of we may see things that the pros don't, and vice versa.
Oh yeah. But we'll see.
It'll be.
We have yet to see. I haven't actually watched enough high level pugs and stuff, so it's all
same. Yeah. Again, this week with her being dropped into ranked, it'll be interesting to see some of your high level streamers. Even you go out and watch a little bit of high level play, see if she's getting picked a lot in just upper ranked games. It'll be curious to just get a very, very early rough idea of like how high level play is being used with her. So actually, I'll be on the lookout for that this week. I know myself.
Can you imagine if we end up in a Roadhog meta after not seeing that much all season?
Give it to me.
What was it, 2020 where we had a Sigma Hog of Grand Finals?
Yes. All of it, all day long.
There's no decays, Daria, and I'm a happy bunny.
Absolutely.
I've still got PTSD from that, and I'm sure a lot of people have.
So one thing that we're talking about Kiriko coming into playoffs, but we've talked about there is a we didn't talk about it actually yet, but there is a mid-season for the Overwatch 2 overall balance patch, hero balance patch that's going to be coming in.
Yeah,
We've not gotten any. Yes, this is unconfirmed for right now. We do know that there is a patch coming. They just didn't confirm the numbers yet. The numbers that I'm about to show you are a typical grain of salt, leaked from what we've understand, but it's the same.
Ooh, I like leaks.
Oh yeah,
leak more.
But we don't know. But what is definitely not confirmed is whether this mid-season patch and update will be affecting the playoffs patch.
I hope they put it in and screw it up for everybody.
So, well, let's see what they might screw up, shall we? So,
okay,
right here
see it.
are the potential numbers. Let me see. Let me zoom in here. So, it's Sombra, Genji, Zarya, and D.Va are the ones getting nerfs. So, which are the immediate controversy is that a lot of people think Sombra, fine, Zarya, fine, D.Va, maybe, but Genji over someone like a Sojourn who has been hard locked, very strong since release, even in the betas and stuff like that. Aside from a little break in there, but she is very, very strong. She's kind of a hard meta pick for most games I've noticed right now, and she's not getting any nerf. I was telling Plex before we started, I'm like, I'm not the world's best aimer, and obviously I'm not a super high ranked player, but even I'm nailing some shots with her railgun that I shouldn't be nailing. I don't know if the hitbox on the beam itself is too big, because like I'm deleting people. I'm like, I shot near them, but holy crap, I should not have one-shotted that guy right there. So that tells me she's maybe a little overtuned, or like I said, at least the rail shot is a little bit, the beam is maybe too big. It's not like precise enough. But anyway, before I break this, Sombra's hack ability, the lockout duration is being reduced from 1.75 to 1.5 seconds. Hacked enemies are no longer valid targets for hacking for the duration of the effect. Hack damage multiplier is now reduced from 40 to 25%. That's for Sombra. Genji, maximum ammo reduced from 30 to 24, taking 6 shurikens away from him. That's big.
That's three finishes, and that's 2 shots, right? That's 2 volleys.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man.
Yes. And then the shuriken damage is reduced from 29 to 27 per, that's pretty significant too. Zarya, the barrier duration is reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds, and the cooldown is increased from 10 to 11 seconds. Which honestly, that's good to me. Having played now against a lot of Zaryas, Zarya can be freaking invulnerable sometimes with her cooldown.
Yeah, you know what? If you're healed well, it's really good. Like Zaryas that stay in sight, you don't die. You don't, right? Zarya feels the way like Junker Queen still feels really chunky at times, but that's just because people just don't focus properly.
Yep.
And but the thing is, the bubbles make her attack so much more powerful because she charges up so damn fast now with a second bubble.
Yep.
I mean, I personally, I'm not against the booster impact damage. I think it's a little bit too powerful for D.Va. She never killed you with that.
Yeah, but so really quick, the fusion cannon spread increased from 3.5 to 3.75, and then just like Richard is saying, booster damage reduced from 25 to 15. Sorry.
Well, because D.Va, I'm not against the spread because D.Va doesn't have she literally has unlimited ammo. She doesn't heat up the way Orisa does. It's dumb that they have this one character that doesn't have the overheat.
Yeah.
That shoots the same way. That's actually dumb. It doesn't make sense. So if you're going to do that, you have to make a damage reducer. There has to be a trade-off there, right? So it's a little bit too tight. And now it makes sense. What this means, though, is it means D.Va, though, because what's been happening is D.Va, if she runs into you and she starts shooting, you're basically dead.
Dude, yeah, right? It is. I've run over so many people, especially squishies and like that. You let them run over, shoot. If you have your missiles, fly and missiles, and someone is deleted.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you have your defense matrix up as well. Fire the missiles.
Oh, I know. And then you drive over them and blah blah blah. It's bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As a big fan of D.Va, I've had a lot of fun with it. You can wreck some of these backlines and stuff like that. But yeah, I would the impact is probably a little much. I wish they would have kept 20 or something like that. But I get
As someone who plays a good amount of Sombra, I actually think it's a healthy change because 1.7, that's nearly 2 seconds. So
Mhm.
dropping that down to 1.5 is actually really healthy. But I'm going to ask you, gents, this question. The Genji changes, do you think they'll be enough?
I don't think I think it's too much.
Okay,
I think
why
it's
is
way
that?
too much because I don't think he's OP. I think he's strong. I think he's in a strong position right now with less CC and stuff in the game. I don't think he's in an overly powered. I would have
Yeah.
left him alone, and I would have done a small nerf to Sojourn.
Richard, over to you on this one.
So I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think the Genjis are that overly powerful at the higher levels of play, but the thing is, this has to apply to the average level players, and Genji sucks to play against. I know why they're doing this, and it's because I've played as Genji and I can get kills, and that just doesn't make any sense.
So that yeah, yours
There
is
you
like
go.
No,
mine, where it's
honestly,
like
my measure is if I can have any efficacy on the DPS, it's not built right.
that's
And I can
kind
get-
of that was the yes, that was my Sojourn as well. I'm like, if
You know
I'm
what I
doing
mean,
well on
man?
this,
Yeah.
like I should not be able to do that well. I'm doing too good because this is not my forte.
Exactly.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah, but
No,
just real
yeah.
quick, 'cause I was saying this to Matt before we got started. So this is something I noticed about Genji players this past weekend, and this started with me reviewing the Mayhem footage, and I saw Checkmate do this. Notice when he pulls the blade, he's not looking at an enemy player. What's he looking for? The immortality field.
Yes, correct.
I saw Checkmate do this, and then I noticed that every Genji player did this. They weren't looking for the targets; they were looking for the immortality field first.
That's smart.
And that to me is a little micro play, sorry, that would not have been noticed had I not gone back and watched that footage.
Sure. Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah. That's because that's one of the. It's like a Zen transcendence. You want to try to maybe goad that out before you pop a blade, just because that's one of those saving grace ultimates or saving grace abilities. So you delete that, and then it's open season on some of your supports. Hopefully, especially if you're nano bladed or something like that. It's huge.
So yeah, going to this week's fixtures, I'll be curious to see if that happens again.
Yep.
Because if you think about it, Genji in these comps is used as a cleanup crew, so to speak. Like everybody else
Exactly.
does the damage and check, and a Genji goes in and goes, right, you're low health, die. You're low health, die.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
those dash resets.
Yep.
And we saw Toronto attempt the Tracer, but he just wasn't making the same impact because Tracer needs to complete the clip in order to get a good amount of damage done.
Yeah.
So she's sort of a setup rather than a cleaner, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah. She would set it up for somebody else. 100%. Get in, chunk away, get out, and then let somebody else clean it up. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. These are just. I get why too. I just think this is a bit of a big kick in the cybernetic nuts for.
To be fair,
Cyber nuts.
Yeah,
To be
the
fair,
cyber
though,
nuts.
It's your side balls.
this does follow the philosophy that the devs have been saying for the last year and a half, something like that, in that they will be hard focusing on the meta. And what's better at the minute? Sombra, Genji, Zarya, Diva. So yeah, it follows the philosophy, but it's a weird one.
But
some way.
again, the only thing with that is I would just say I'm like Sojourn. I don't understand how she's not in the conversation for a nerf. That one really blows my mind.
Imagine if we get to the playoffs, they're on this patch, and you get Junker Queen, Sojourn, and Kiriko all together at the same time.
Oh God, it's
Yes.
all
awful.
three of
I
the new
know.
heroes. That's
Yes.
power creep on steroids.
Yes, give it to me. Give me free marketing. No, that would be gnarly. That would be gnarly. But let's talk about the game in general. Richard, Have you touched ranked in
No,
Overwatch 2 yet?
no, no,
You
no,
haven't.
no.
And why pray tell might that be?
Uh,
Or is there a reason?
I don't have I don't have a stack to play with.
Oh, okay. And you don't want to touch it solo queue?
No. No.
I'd say with me, I've not been touching it, but that's more because I want to get used to 5v5. I plan to start ranked in New Year or something like that. Or I've got feel familiar with the new intricacies of the game. Now, there's
Sure.
one less tank. So that's my reason for not touching it. And I'm
Yeah,
assuming that you've touched it a little bit.
Well, yeah. I like to touch things.
Ah.
I had to give it a try. I just want to see. I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. And it's weird, man. A lot of what people are saying is weird. The matchmaking is very strange. It's like you feel like you're either getting absolutely stomped on, or you do the stomping. Like the boots were made for walking, or they're going to walk all over you. It really there's very little nuance. There's very little like close back and forth matches. It's either like I'm playing with 4-year-olds or I'm playing with GM level people. It's very, very strange. And I only did my support placements, and I got ranked at the bottom of the barrel. And again, I am not like a diamond player or anything like that, but I had some of the best games of my life, and like a pretty nutty, like very contributed very much in my games and everything like that. And I still got placed at the bottom of bronze.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
From what I understand, there's still carryover from Overwatch 1. It's like some of your stats do carry over. And I'm thinking to myself, it's 5v5, not 6v6. You could have done at least a pseudo reset of ranks.
they said that they did there was like a soft MMR reset. It wasn't a full wipe, like start from zero, because then it really would have been like, dude, I'm getting placed in games with frickin', Seagull and me are going to be in the same game because we're all at zero, right? But I don't know. There's just something a little bit odd. It feels like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because everyone wanted to reset, but then it would have been way more chaotic if there was a full reset.
Okay. So I remember when Roll Cube got first introduced, and there was a bug where everyone got placed in gold.
Oh,
and they had to revert. Yeah, it's like 2019. It's just literally just been introduced, and you get pro players like Choi Obin playing with his sort of Bill Blogs from Winnipeg.
Well, guess that you'll climb pretty quickly then if you're a pro level player getting placed in gold.
It didn't matter how well you did or anything or what the SR was before. You were always going to be placed in gold because this glitch. So they had to go, okay, we're going to take that out for a bit and we'll fix it. Sorry. It was a complete nightmare. It was hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, bring it to the car wash. You know what I mean? It's like the like Bastion. Put Bastion in the old
this previous week.
In the old workshop.
Yep. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Who was it that played Bastion this past weekend? I want to say it was Houston.
No, it was Toronto. Wasn't it?
No, it was San Francisco Shock.
Oh, that was
London Rush comp.
Striker. Was it Striker?
No, it was proper. It was on Circuit Royale. I remember now.
Yeah, I do remember it. I remember it on Circuit
Royale. I remember that match because Shock at times was struggling to deal with, sort of find a solution to the Reinhardt rush, and you saw them break out some really bizarre combinations.
Yeah,
like at one point they were playing Winston with a Bat Zen.
Yes,
which is not the composition you want.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's all absolutely valid. It'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, folks. But regardless, like I said, we are back onto where did I just find that? There we go. The big thing is for us. APAC is set. The West has got their final wild card play-ins, and we will get our full. What does that make? A full roster of how many teams for playoffs? That's 6 in the East and then 8 in the West. So what? 14.
Something like that. Yeah. Let's try to think. APAC has Shanghai, Seoul, Philly, Spark.
Yeah, 6 out of
That's
7.
4
6. So they've already set their playoffs. The top
So, yeah, they've
top
got-
6
they've-
already make.
So they're sending 4 teams, and I think 8 from NA in total. So you
Oh,
have the
that would
top
make more
6,
sense. Okay.
and
So
then 2
then,
from this.
because APAC is
Oh,
done then, right?
Yeah, APAC was done last week.
So I'm
They
wondering was
literally
why
said-
postseason. Oh, play-in cut. Oh, I thought that said playoff cutoff. So Valiant were out of the play-ins, and they had their play-ins this weekend.
Yeah,
This
because
last
Guangzhou
weekend.
faced Chengdu in a really good 5 mapper, and then Hangzhou Spark was like, "Oh, you just played a 5 mapper. Bye bye."
Yeah.
And Shy turned up.
So
I
and
will say
so
that.
Hangzhou clutched it out, and so
Yeah.
they're the ones going.
I was like, when I watched that game, Shy was getting all the plaudits, but special shout out to Teru. I was not fully convinced by his role swap because he was on damage last year. This is his breakout game. He looked really good.
Yeah. It'll yeah, that'll be fun to see. But all of it, we'll see. We kind of a quick wrap up show for us, everybody, is because we're kind of all just like waiting. We're waiting on pins.
I
and
know.
needles just to get to see we're heading into those final weeks, and we're just gonna end up seeing what happens. And yeah, it'll be. I don't know. It's freaking wild. And like this wild card is gonna be really. I think it's gonna be some good matches. I'm gonna have to. Of course, I'm working. I'll be in Vegas. Maybe I'll play some bets down on the Overwatch League. I wonder if they take.
Dangerous.
I wonder if they take. I wonder if they
Dangerous.
take bets. I'll have to check the local bookies or whatever. But I'll be there for work. But I might actually have to stay up and watch those. And yeah. But you'll hear about all that and more. We will be back next week. Thank you for hanging out and thank you for taking a week with us. I'll do all the fun things. Like, subscribe, comment below. Tell us who you think is going to make it to the playoffs out of the Western region. You have Boston, you have Florida, you have Toronto, and you have Washington. Who's going through all the way to the end? But anyway, until next week, ladies and gentlemen, for the great Root Bear, for Plexmatic, I am the Drama King. This has been OverBOTCH. We're ramping it down. But we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.